friendship could be. My little pony. Until you all shared its magic with me. Big adventure, tons of fun. A beautiful heart, faithful and strong. Sharing kindness, it's an easy feat. And magic makes it all complete. You have mine. Did you know you're all my very best friends? I'm so excited. I feel like shouting.
So the main six is on their way to Canterlot. Oh hey, there's Jet Set and Upper Crust. It must not rain much in Canterlot. These two would have drowned by now.
There's so much to look at.
So if Nightmare Night is Pony Halloween, Hearth Swarming is Pony Christmas. Also, Hearth Swarming is surprisingly hard for me to enunciate. Anyway, it's currently Hearth Swarming Eve, and the main six are starring in a pageant, a story about the founding of Equestria, which is a yearly tradition that every city puts on, but naturally Canterlot is the biggest. Backstage, they're already starting to argue with each other. Applejack has left a window open, and when she goes to close it, she starts to argue with Rainbow Dash.
It's a reenactment of the founding of Equestria. It's not the Rainbow Dash show.
Are you kidding? Her whole life is the Rainbow Dash show.
I don't want every pony looking at me!
Also, naturally, Fluttershy does not want to go on. Who thought it would be a good idea to put Fluttershy in a play anyway? Oh, right.
The Hearth Warming Eve pageant is about harmony and friendship.
Shut the window!
With all the fighting going on, I almost expected them to say shut the F up.
Once upon a time.
Fortunately, Spike is the one starting it off, so the main six still has a couple minutes to get over themselves. The play takes place during a dark time where the three tribes, the Pegasi, the Unicorns, and the Earth Ponies, didn't get along, and had no interest in unifying. They each only cared about their own respective tribes. But they had worked out a trade of sorts. The Pegasi would make it rain so that the Earth Ponies could grow crops, for which the Pegasi would demand some of as payment. The Unicorns would demand crops as well in return for making the sun rise and set. So I guess this is pre-Celestia and Luna? I would have thought that they came first. In any case, the different tribes were benefiting off each other, but there was a lot of mistrust. But everything came to a head when a mysterious blizzard started, and now we're switching to kind of an imaginary version of what the play is representing.
Earth ponies were freezing. The Pegasi were hungry. And the unicorns were freezing and hungry.
This is still a kid's show, right? Basically, they're all blaming each other for their suffering. Eventually, a grand summit was held, with the leaders from all three tribes.
Daughter of the Unicorn King, Princess Platinum, ruler of the Pegasi, Commander Hurricane, leader of the Earth Ponies, Chancellor Puddinghead.
I suspect that each of the main six personalized their respective characters, otherwise it's hard to imagine anyone else playing them. Anyway, the meeting gets off to a great start.
All I want to know is why the Earth Ponies are hogging all the food.
It's only because you mean old Pegasus
I love that she got so stuck on that word she went cross-eyed.
are making it snow like crazy!
Commander Hurricane claims that the Pegasi are not making it snow, and he turns the blame around to the unicorns.
We unicorns would never stoop to such a thing. Hummerfuck!
Harumph, say the unicorns.
I beg your pardon. I am a princess!
Nice. I wonder if Rarity did that on purpose. Or if it was just something she did on accident and they just kind of went with it. Actual Rarity, I mean, not the character she's playing. In any case, they all leave the summit in a huff, revealing that some equine-looking ghosts of some kind are watching them from the sky. So each goes back to their respective homes and complains about how much they hate the other tribes.
Those other tribe leaders are so disrespectful. Don't they realize that we are a mighty tribe of warriors and should not be crossed?
Those other tribes are impossible! I, for one, can no longer bear to be anywhere near those lowly creatures.
Except for Chancellor Puddinghead, who has a weirdly positive spin on it.
I have decided that the Earth Ponies are gonna go it alone! And with me as our fearless leader, what could go wrong?
Where should I start?
Applejack's deadpan snarking, in contrast to Pinkie Pie's goofiness, is probably the best thing about this episode. So each tribe decides to find a new home, and naturally it's a disaster. Though more for the advisors than the leaders.
Get a hold of yourself, Private!
Private Pansy is afraid of the storm.
Okay, this is getting old.
Clover the Clever doesn't agree with Princess Platinum.
Your Highness, it's just a stream. We can cross it easily.
I refuse to get my gown wet. Ugh. And do watch the gown, darling. It's worth more than all of the books in your library.
Also, second time Twilight has had to wear a bridle against her will. And Smart Cookie has to deal with all of Chancellor Puddinghead's silliness, like her method for reading a map.
There are holes in the map, and
How else could I see where I was going? I need to be able to talk. How would we survive if I just suddenly shut up?
heaven forbid that should happen, your chancellorship. The map is also upside down.
The Earth is round. There is no up or down.
Wait, Earth? My Little Pony takes place in a post-apocalyptic Earth where humanity's extinct and equines have taken over. Confirmed.
You take the map. Will I enjoy some relief?
Yes, Chancellor Puddinghead.
Anyway, they each find a beautiful new home and claim it as theirs.
I think I'm gonna call this new place Dirtville.
How about Earth?
No, it was originally called Earth. You gotta give it a new name.
We found our new home.
And unfortunately, they all found the same place. And the fighting commences.
Perhaps if we all calm down.
All three advisors try to pull for a peaceful talk, but the leaders aren't having any of it.
We settled this on the battlefield.
Best face? And then the blizzard spreads to the new land along with the equine ghost-like figures. Unfortunately, the only shelter was one cave, which they all had to share.
Could you just stand back and give me my royal space?
And that goes about as well as you would expect. They do the whole divide the room thing, and it just gets more and more petty as it goes on until all three of them are fighting over a rock. And then the ice forms down the walls and the entrance to the cave freezes over. The leaders continue to bicker until they freeze over as well.
Earth ponies are numbskulls.
Pegasi are brutes! Unicorns are stuck!
Leaving the advisors to fend for themselves, as the equine ghosts close in as well. And it turns out they're called Wendigos, because Equestria is a world of puns.
They're winter spirits that feed off fighting and hatred.
So the advisors realize now that all of the cold weather and hardship was caused by all of the fighting amongst the three tribes. And as they start to freeze over, they stand together.
No matter what our differences, we're all ponies.
Now that they're on friendly terms, Clover the Clever's horn accumulates with the power caused by that. And it emits a column of magic that melts the ice and drives away the Wendigos.
It came from all three of us joined together in friendship.
So they keep the fire of friendship alive by telling stories and singing songs. Come to think of it, I'm surprised there were no songs in this episode. And eventually the leaders were freed and the cave opened up again. The blizzard is gone and the land is beautiful once again. So I guess the princesses did already exist, so why were the unicorns raising the sun? Take a bow, every pony, you did a great job.
The fire of friendship lives in our hearts.
Oh, there's a song.
The quarrels arise, their numbers are few.
Kind of reminds me of the ending of Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Isn't it just grand to say, Merry, Merry Christmas?
She must really think we exemplify what good friends are.
So of course the main six have learned nothing and go right back to bickering again.
Oh, well, for goodness sake, stop listening!
Until they think they hear Wendigos. And so ends Hearth's Warming Eve. This is a good episode and I like it a lot. Though I have kind of a hang-up about normally not watching Christmas-related things when it's not Christmas time, so I end up hardly ever watching it. But the play itself is interesting. There's normally so much harmony among the three tribes that we don't normally tend to get much emphasis on how they differ from each other. So that's interesting to see for a change. Pegasi are militaristic and seem to be somewhat based on ancient Romans. The unicorns have a royal family, and I like the detail that Rarity's character is wearing a regal-looking cape and crown, where her advisor is in rags. Earth ponies are basically farmers, though with Pinkie Pie playing the leader, it's hard to tell more than that. I am a little bit bothered by the fact that I can't figure out how the princesses fit into this scenario. I originally figured that maybe this happened before they came into being or before they were known, but the flag they put up when they found Equestria has them on it, so that's a bit weird. Could be that originally the flag looked different, but they used the modern one for the play because it was more recognizable. The popular fanon for this story is that either it's changed a lot from what actually happened, or maybe it's purely fictional and is meant to be more as a parable than a historical account, due to the inconsistencies with other episodes. In any case, we have another monster to add to Equestria's bestiary in the form of Wendigos. Despite the punny name, I actually think they're pretty neat and kind of creepy for a kid's cartoon. Wendigos are usually depicted as humanoid, sometimes furry due to the origin of the myth, and tend to represent cannibalism, murder, and greed. Generally, if someone resorts to cannibalism, they are said to have been possessed by a Wendigo. Wendigos come from a world of equines, so it makes sense that they'd look more like that. And since cannibalism tends to happen due to famine, which can be caused by the blizzards that the Wendigos create, and they mention characters starving because of that, it's actually kind of easy to see how they're a very child-friendly version of Wendigos. And on that cheerful note, next up is Family Appreciation Day. See you then.
My Little Pony. My Little Pony friends.
I know how to think outside the box, which means I can also think inside the chimney. Can you think inside a chimney?